There's no two ways about it. Shattered Veil is a great map. It is without a doubt Treyarch's greatest DLC map in Black Ops 6, and there's probably even somewhat of a justifiable argument to suggest it surpasses Terminus as the best map in the game, full stop. But there's a problem. A big problem. A problem so large that it may stop Shattered Veil from being remembered for the great map it is, or maybe even remembered at all. But to fully understand all of this, we need to go back to the start. Black Ops 6 Zombies launched with a lot of promise back in 2024, but in the eyes of many, it seemed that we sadly peaked far too early. I'd argue that the best zombies games and experiences have ramped up and improved on themselves throughout their life cycles, with Black Ops 1 through 3 being crowning examples of this, whereas Black Ops 6 started off hot with Terminus, but then failed to really gather any significant momentum and hype with the fairly average release of Citadel des Morts and disappointing release of The Tomb. This is not entirely the fault of the map's releases. Broader issues and controversy across Call of Duty as a whole have also led to the mass decline in player counts. Regardless of the reason, however, the reality is that the community sentiment was not at its highest upon the release of Shattered Veil. Treyarch needed Shattered Veil to be a success, more than any map previously in Black Ops 6. A poor release or overall negative initial reception to the map really could have spelled complete disaster for Black Ops 6 Zombies. But disaster hasn't struck. Not yet. From the early stages of both key art and trailers, Shattered Veil showed signs of being a potential hidden gem with its interesting mansion setting. Upon release, however, the atmosphere and setting far exceeded expectations. The first thing that hits is the atmosphere of the map. Well, it's not fully dark, but it is spooky. The map finds its feet somewhere between the brightness of Liberty Falls and the twilight setting of Terminus. Since launch, players have been begging for a darker, gloomier feel to the maps, akin to what we'd seen in the quote golden age of zombies, all the way back in Black Ops 2 and 3. And while Shattered Veil is no Terminus or Dreisendrach, it does a pretty good job at finding somewhat of a middle ground. What's even more impressive about the map is how varied Treyarch has created the environments. There are 3 or 4 drastically different feeling parts of the map that each look different, play different, and make the player feel different, with more areas waiting to be unlocked via the Easter egg we'll touch on later. The spawn and outside areas offer a nice introduction to the map, comparable to the spawn of Citadel des Morts that guides players towards the spectacle of seeing this huge mansion from the outside. Once inside the mansion, the gameplay completely flips on its head, offering a brighter, warmer environment with tight and narrow hallways, creating an experience that is the polar opposite of what you face outside. The layout of the mansion itself isn't super straightforward either and can almost feel mazy-like, proving to be a legitimately difficult environment to fight in as the quantity of zombies increases. It really feels as if the mansion improved on some of the failings of the castle in CDM, as the castle really offered no challenge and players could survive with little to no issue inside. The mansion's interior, however, is very much that part of the map that players will look to avoid in Shattered Veil, as it's often a death trap. But as we'll soon learn, Treyarch designed things in a way that would force players inside more often than they would truly like. The final part of the base map would be the SAM AI room and its supply tunnel section that go with it, which provided a nice surprise to the community as it added another layer to an already pretty vast map. These initial areas provided excellent variety, and unbeknownst to the players, there was more to come. Treyarch really knocked their design out of the park. How can a map not be cool when it has a fucking Night at the Museum T-Rex on it? All right, let's be honest. You're still trying to figure out what to get your mom for Mother's Day. Don't worry, I got you. Moms do everything after all. So why not get her something that she'll actually use every day? Raycon everyday earbuds. These are the move. They have active noise cancellation, so if she needs a break from you, she can actually tune everything out. And with the multi-point connectivity, she can connect to her phone and laptop at the same time, meaning she'll finally stop asking you why her Bluetooth isn't working. I use these when I'm editing, going for a walk, or just ignoring notifications. Plus, they have 32-hour battery life, so not only will she not have to constantly charge them, you won't either. And if she forgets, boom, 10 minutes of charging gives her 90 minutes of playback. And this little case, a wireless charger, baby. No extra cords, no extra hassle. So if you want to be the favorite child this Mother's Day, hit the link below or go to buyraycon.com/evanf1997 for 20% off site-wide. Thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring this video, and now back to the video. Despite me waxing lyrical about the map's design and layout, it would be misleading to suggest that the entire community is in this agreement. Shattered Veil has a split opinion, with plenty of users commenting how much they love the map and how well Treyarch have done with it, such as this Reddit user who said, "It's such a fantastic map. Reminds me a lot of OG Zombies," as well as another that feeds off the similar energy here, saying, "I actually felt like I was playing OG Zombies until about round 12, where I packed my gray pistol and it was doing fuck all for damage. I had to double take like, oh, right, salvage exists. I need to upgrade my rarity. It's genuinely a great map. Haven't even looked at the Easter egg steps yet, so I hope it's just as good." While the general consensus seems to be that Shattered Veil is more reminiscent of an OG Zombies map, it's important to remember that it's not an OG Zombies map, and it's still very much a Black Ops 6 map with how it plays. Now for some, this isn't an issue, but for those who have been a little standoffish to the Black Ops 6 Zombies concept as a whole, Shattered Veil isn't so good that this is suddenly a non-issue. Take this review and impression from Effin, for example, saying, quote, "I want to like it because I was excited for it, but to be honest, I really just don't. But I'm not sure if it's the map or Black Ops 6 itself. For starters, the layout is not favorable, at least for me. Once I first hopped into the map, it looked pretty cool and I was amused, but once I got into the mansion, everything changed. It's bright. It's boring, it's stale, and the layout isn't really anything over a 6 out of 10 in my opinion. The comment about being unsure whether it's the map or Black Ops 6 is really the key point here, and is probably the biggest problem that Shattered Veil is going to face, with another comment from Deathbringer Zen driving this home further, saying, quote, "Not a big fan of it from my initial playthrough so far, but I'm sure it will grow on me. To be honest, I'm just struggling to find interest in this modern zombies and DMZ hybrid." While the layout and design of the map laid a great foundation for Shattered Veil, it's in other areas that the map really begins to shine. For once, it seems Treyarch has really listened to players and tried to avoid giant pain points for other zombies maps. And yes, I really said that. Treyarch listened, and it's not an April Fool's prank. The excessive mini-boss spamming of doppelgasts, abominations, mimics, and amalgamations that was seen in previous maps has been heavily toned down here, to a level that balances playability and difficulty in a much improved way. Despite this, Shattered Veil does introduce 2 new special types of zombies, with the Elder Wizard, which I believe we've seen in older CODs, but I haven't played those, so you'll have to let me know in the comments, and the Toxic Zombie. The Elder Wizard is a fairly tanky zombie that doesn't do the majority of its damage directly, and instead entrances other zombies and upgrades them to special types, such as Vermin and Doppelgasts. If not properly dealt with, special zombie spam can ensue, and it can lead to a pretty horrific time for the player. I'm gonna get up. Oh my god, I just got grabbed. I just got grabbed. Oh my god. Including, yes, the amalgamations that Treyarch said were not going to be on the map making a return. But it's nice Treyarch gave us a way to deal with this and avoid this, instead of just spamming annoying gameplay mechanics to artificially increase the difficulty. With all of that being said, good map design and a lack of annoying enemies is not a recipe for success in itself. The final ingredient that makes a map great, and especially in this case, is its main quest Easter egg, and the intriguing way that the community solved it for the first time. The Shattered Veil Easter egg hunt began relatively bug-free on April 2nd, apart from a few update issues briefly preventing Xbox and PC players from playing, but this one was solved relatively quickly and was really a non-issue. The hunt began in a fashion well accustomed to Black Ops 6 by now, as Easter egg hunters were guided around the map and then down an elevator shaft to unlock the Pack-a-Punch machine, before attention turned quickly to acquiring the map's wonder weapon. Although the Wonderwaff had been teased since the launch as Shattered Veil's wonder weapon, racers would learn it was actually the returning Raygun Mark II that the Easter egg would focus around. To unlock the Raygun Mark II, there was actually a mini Easter egg in itself that required players to decipher a code, release a mini-boss, and then use an arm to unlock it from protected glass in the armory. In the armory. Yeah, I just got the pun too. An arm in the armory. Oh my God, Treyarch. But for lots of the Easter egg hunters on Twitch and YouTube, this period of discovery was completely skipped with the Wonder Bar Gobblegum. This is one of the few gripes I have with Treyarch in this map, as I personally believe that the Wonder Bar Gobblegum should be disabled until the Easter egg is beaten for the first time. If Treyarch is going to continue with these linear style Easter eggs that start with acquiring and upgrading the Wonder Weapon, it makes no sense to have a Gobblegum that can entirely skip this initial step. In reality, it's quite a small issue, as the majority of people won't be using Wonder Bar gums anyway, but I do think it does take away from the initial hype and spectacle of the Easter egg hunt. I covered the entire Easter egg with my co-host CB Gray on our Zombie Zone stream, and we tracked Mr. Raffle Waffles first to make progress on the Mark II upgrade, after he shot large blue crystals around the map and got an empty canister to drop from one. Milo placed this machine near Speed Cola, and suddenly 2 sparky blue abominations spawned in, although it was unclear why, with some teams incorrectly assuming that they needed to just be killed. Eventually, some teams noticed that when the abomination lightning struck the rocks, they would glow blue, and when the mini-boss ran into the rocks, they would begin to float. Once all the rocks were floating, a fairly challenging defense step would start, in which hordes of vermin would spawn, alongside the standard zombies, and sometimes even one of the evil Kamek zombie wizards. The step actually offered a fairly significant challenge to teams, especially if they had not waited until the end of a round. Unlike in other defense steps, vermin attacking the objective would set back the progress bar, and it was easy to get overrun and have your progress reset all the way back. This step felt fulfilling, rewarding, and fitting of an Easter egg, which is something that a lot of previous steps in Citadel Day More and the Tomb have failed to replicate. After Milo completed this defense step, he was rewarded with an explosive ray gun Mark II that felt incredibly deserving of the term Wonder Weapon. This is returning from Alpha Omega in Black Ops 4, which the Sentinel artifact and some other small nods from previous maps play a lot of homage to. Speaking of that artifact, you were going to use it here. Unlike in Moon and Black Ops 1, the relic from a previous map's Easter egg was not a barrier to entry on Shattered Veil. If you recall, in Moon, you needed the golden rod and the meteor from both Call of the Dead and Shangri-La. Here, you didn't need to beat the tomb to get the mirror, but you still use it as a tool the same way you did on those maps, instead of fighting it like the boss it was on the tomb. As we've already mentioned, Shattered Veil is a huge map, but during the Easter egg, it became even bigger than we first realized, with the Spooky Mansion fittingly having an array of secret rooms and passageways to open and discover. One of these secret rooms was in the main entrance hall near the T-Rex skeleton. After solving a brief Simon Says puzzle, this would reveal a speakeasy, in which there was a framed photo of a man who looked oddly similar to Jack Black, or more commonly known as Steve from the Minecraft movie. Racers used the ray gun in this room to charge this picture frame and jump through the created portal to another secret room, in which there was a man, like most Call of Duty players, who was looking for a hard drink to take the edge off. This voice line was actually quite sneaky and misleading from Treyarch, leading a large number of Easter egg hunting teams to frantically search the map, expecting to find some sort of bottle or drink quest item to give the ghostly man.
So I get to hear him again. I'm thirsty. Give me a drink.
Thirsty. Give me a slug of the hard stuff.
None of that wine.
None of that wine stuff. I want the whiskey glass found in exactly this part of the map. In reality, players would have to find a bell, place it on the bar, ring the bell next to a brain-rotted zombie, who would then turn into a bartender and serve you a drink. This step is so misleading, and despite casting the hunt on Zombie Zone, I'm still unsure how anyone actually cracked this, and I love how unique and fitting this step is from Treyarch. After Racers had given Steve from Minecraft his potion, a shielded lockdown with a mini-boss fight would start. Although with upgraded weapons, this was really no challenge at all, and I'd love to see a little more difficulty injected into this step, like we saw with the vermin defense step earlier. This approach of finding the canister, fill the canister, charge the painting, complete the ritual, would repeat 2 more times. While I'm normally against rinse and repeat Easter egg steps, these steps actually had their own unique twists and quirks that felt much more akin to the elemental upgrades of wonder weapons seen previously. The canisters were acquired through some fun challenges. Noticing one through a window near double tap while using using a Gersh device that was conveniently on the ground to pick up. The other was in a tube that called for teams to throw tomahawks at a pipe, which Noah J did pull off. It's important that I note that Double Tap made its first return since Black Ops 3, a perk that the fanbase had desperately missed and fits like a glove to this augment system. Aside from the amazing perk machine that it has, which I would love to see zombies experiment more with, it was also nice to have another injection of OG zombies, with random part spawns from some of the Easter egg items. While this can be annoying for repeat playthroughs, it does add some variety into earlier runs and the hunt itself, instead of just reading like a guide or following what a streamer had done. Another secret room had a mirror Zelda-like puzzle. This was showing a stone worm, who I originally believed to be the boss of this map. When we were watching along, Noah, Pizza, Freckleston, and Chopper were trying to figure out the crystal room, and in doing so, had so many zombies around them because they thought they needed the wizard to turn the zombies into doppelgas. Doing that was wrong. All they had to do in reality, as Noah discovered, was punch the crystal with the beam on a statue. But it was funny to watch them overcomplicate things. Well, I hope if you have nightmares about the doppelgas, I have some bad news if you want to play this map. With all 3 ray guns crafted and all 3 rituals completed, players sensed that a boss fight was imminent, although it was unclear what the boss would actually be. It took just under 4 hours to reach this point, and although I'd love to see a hunt with the scale of Origins or Revelations again, I'm aware that it seems Treyarch isn't really going down that path anymore. I'm not knocking Shattered Veil for being a shorter hunt, but instead giving it praise. Look, I would love a long Easter egg, but if the reason for an Easter egg going so long is because there isn't feedback between puzzle and the player, then it's a frustrating puzzle. Treyarch clearly has a goal of incorporating puzzles, but the only difference in Shattered Veils is that you can hear your characters speak when something goes wrong. You might see a light illuminating an oddly placed object, and you get a notification when something is picked up. These are quality of life features, not modern day problems. I think that Shattered Veil, had it not given feedback at all, would have been a day-long hunt in the old CODs. And that's because, well, the map is pretty dang mysterious. With all that being said, by far the coolest part of the map is its boss fight and cutscenes. I don't think anyone expected this to happen.
Bro, what is going on? Here we go, guys. Everybody locked in.
Oh my god, it is T-Rex. It is T-Rex.
Oh.
It's T-Rex.
Oh.
T-Rex. CBS
It's not the worm.
It's T-Rex. TBS
Oh.
T-Rex. TBS T-Rex.
Oh.
TBS T-Rex.
Oh. Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh my
Oh.
god. Oh my god. It's the T-Rex.
I really don't think anyone expected the T-Rex to come alive and become the boss, and some of the best gaming moments are those in which players are the most surprised. Ironically, the fight was easier than the spooky mirror on the tomb, mainly due to the fact that it was a pretty old-fashioned just shoot the boss until he dies kind of fight. Once again, this isn't a criticism of the map, and once again, it is a compliment to it. This fight was filled with thrashing, gnashing, tail whipping, and it felt like a fun but suitable challenge, with the giant boss chasing you around being genuinely terrifying. The entire arena had the radioactive zombies, and the Z-Rex only took crit damage from certain spots, a lot like Patient 13 in that way. This wasn't nearly as difficult as Patient 13, but man, what a spectacle, and here is the moment that the Easter egg was completed for the very first time.
Get out of the poison. He's really, really weak. He's trying to get out. The Z-Rex is going crazy.
Miyazaki,
We're
put
so
your poison
close.
Swamps away.
Come on. Oh, they get their team
And
back up.
they
This should be
are
it.
dead.
World Spur. Maybe. Wait, Evan, wait.
That's a world.
There it is.
Main
World's
quest complete.
first main quest
quest.
complete. I think that's the world's first. We got a cutscene to watch. What a fight.
For all the good that Shattered Veil does in its design and Easter egg, its biggest failure is existing within Black Ops 6 and modern day zombies. The layout and design are great and reminiscent of an OG style. The upgraded ray guns are unique and provided some much needed elemental flair, and the Easter egg story and cutscenes are pretty awesome with an incredibly cool final boss payoff. I have really no doubt that had this map launched within the climate and how the player base was feeling of the old days of Black Ops zombies, it would have gone on to be remembered as an all-time classic. But instead, I fear that Shattered Veil will become nothing more than that Black Ops 6 map with the T-Rex boss. That wasn't as bad as the rest, and somewhat of a hidden gem, much like the fate that Dead of the Night suffered. And that's really a shame.